This is a major talking point which we've been talking about in the last coming weeks and months. There's been a lot of videos on this channel speaking about it, and now the FIA have officially approved the Andretti Cadillac team's bid for a new team to join the Formula One grid. A new team could be joining Formula One in the near future after the governing body has approved one applicant following a rigorous process. The FIA has granted approval for a new team to join Formula One, opening the potential for the grid to expand beyond 20 cars. Following months of deliberation, the application of Andretti Formula Racing has been approved after a comprehensive application process. Earlier this year, the FIA opened the formal applications process for new teams to join the Formula One grid as early as 2025, 1 year before the new technical regulations come into play. Formula One has existed with 10 teams since the 2017 season, with Haas being the last squad to set up in the paddock. Last year, Andretti Global announced its plans to join Formula One in the future and confirmed a tie-up with Cadillac in January, which would see a major car brand arrive on the grid with it should it be successful. Andretti fields successful teams in the NTT IndyCar series as well as the all-electric Formula E category. As part of its increased investment into motorsport, Andretti showcased plans to build a brand new racing headquarters in Fishers, Indiana. This established their progress along with 3 other applicants to phase 2 of the process, which assessed them on their sporting and technical capabilities. The ability of the team to raise and maintain sufficient funding to allow participation in the championship at a competitive level, and the team's experience and human resources. With the FIA's approval, a decision now must be made by Formula One itself, with the governing body confirming that its findings have been passed on to the Formula One management for commercial discussions. Andretti had been reportedly the only team to fulfill the selected criteria. FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem said the FIA was very clear in establishing stringent criteria for their entry from the outset of the expressions on interest procedure. Our objective after rigorous due diligence during the application process was to only approve prospective entries which satisfied the set criteria and illustrated that they would add value to the sport. The FIA is obliged to approve applications that comply with the expressions of interest application requirements, and we have adhered to the procedure in deciding that Andretti Formula Racing LLC's application would proceed to the next stage of that application process. In taking that decision, the FIA is acting in accordance with EU directives on motorsport participation and development. Andretti Formula Racing was the only entity which fulfills the selection criteria that was set in all material aspects. I congratulate Michael Andretti and his team on a thorough submission. I also want to thank all prospective teams for their interest and participation. The expressions of interest process builds up on positive acceptance of the FIA's 2026 Formula One power unit regulations among existing OEMs, which has already attracted further commitment from Audi, Honda and Ford, and interest from Porsche and General Motors. I would like to thank all of the FIA team members involved in the expressions of interest process for their tireless efforts ensuring a diligent assessment of the FIA team applications received. So, very exciting to see that the FIA has approved Andretti's bid to join Formula One in 2025. Whether Formula One management will approve that, though, we will have to wait and see. There's a lot that does now have to happen before they can be admitted onto the Formula One grid. The Concord agreement with all of the teams would have to be redrawn because, of course, the teams don't really want their funds diluted with a new team being brought into the sport. It's also been rumoured that a new team would have to pay a dilution fee of about, I think it's $200 million a year to not allow the rest of the teams to lose any money from the winnings pot at the end of the season. So it's really a lot of politics that are still involved, a lot of behind the scenes talking and as I said, politics still with the FIA and Formula One group. Liberty Media might still not be all too happy to admit another team onto the Formula One grid. We'll have to wait and see what does happen.